Hello, in this video we're going to look at how we draw in two-point perspective. You're going to need a set square because you've got a nice long edge of a ruler to use, rubber and pencil. Make sure you have those things. First thing I want you to do is write a nice clear title, so two-point perspective drawing, and then I've underlined that with my set square with my ruler so it's nice and neat. Okay. I'm actually going to do my drawing in pen because it shows up better on the video, but I want you to do it in pencil. First thing you're going to do is you're going to add a vanishing point two vanishing points to your paper, and you're going to do this approximately halfway from the top of your page to the bottom of your page. So my fingers here, as they come down the page, there. So that's approximately halfway. It doesn't have to be measured, doesn't have to be perfect, just approximately halfway from top to bottom. I'm going to label that vanishing point A on the left hand side. I'm going to repeat that on the right hand side. So here's the top of my page, here's the bottom of my page, approximately halfway down, and I want it to run opposite vanishing point A. So I'm going to mark an X, and I'm going to call that vanishing point B. Vanishing point A on the left, vanishing point B on the right. So I want you to imagine there's a line that runs between vanishing point A and vanishing point B, and we're going to call that the horizon line, and that's like our eye level. So if I'm looking at something, I'm looking at it at eye level. That's what we're going to take as our horizon line. We're going to draw our first design down the bottom of our page, so it will be below the horizon line. So if that's where our eyes are, and I'm looking down on a design, I'm going to see the top of my design and the front and the side of it. When we draw above the horizon line a little bit later on, it's as if we're looking up at the design, so we'll see underneath of it. Here we go then. So the first thing I want you to do is draw a line approximately 5 or 6 centimeters, roughly in the middle, doesn't have to be exact, approximately 5 or 6 centimeters. What I want you to concentrate on doing is making sure that line is a vertical line. What I mean by vertical is it's going straight up and straight down. It's not going off at an angle to the right or to the left, it's straight up and straight down. Next, this is where our vanishing points come into play. You're going to take a pencil line, and it's going to be a really light pencil line, so you're hardly touching the page. So place your pencil at the top of your vertical line, use your set square as use your pencil to anchor the set square around so that it's pointing to vanishing point A. This is going to be a really light pencil line because we're going to rub some of it out. Repeat that. This time we're going to go to vanishing point B on the right hand side. Be accurate and be light with your pencil. Really light. Should look like that. Next step, we're going to repeat that process, however this time we're going to go from the bottom of our vertical line. So I use my set square, anchor it around my pencil till it's pointing to vanishing point A on the left. I take my pencil nice and lightly over to vanishing point A. Repeat, this time over to vanishing point B. Line it up. Really light pencil line so your pencil's hardly touching the page. So you can see, very obvious, that this vertical line is a lot darker than these 4 construction lines. Next step then. We need 2 vertical lines. Remember, vertical lines go up and down, straight up and down, not at an angle. And because we're using a set square, we can, if we want to, line the bottom of my set square up with my paper. And I know that if I run my pencil on this edge, it's going to be a vertical line. So I'm going to take a vertical line, and it's going to run from this construction line along the edge of my set square to the construction line at the bottom. like so. I'm going to repeat that over on this side. Make sure it's a vertical line and try and stick within the two construction lines that you've drawn. So some of you will now look at this and see, right, okay sir, I can see you're drawing a 3D rectangle in 2-point perspective, and this is the left hand side of the rectangle and this is the right hand side of the rectangle. What we need to do now is fill in the top. We're going to start at the top of this vertical line, and I'm going to use my set square. This is where I want to use the longest edge of my set square, and I'm going to line up my set square with the top of this vertical line, and it's going to go over to vanishing point B, and my pencil line must be really light because I'm going to rub some of it out. I'm going to come back over to this side and this vertical line, and I'm going to use the longest edge of my set square, and I'm going to line it up with vanishing point A, and I'm going to take a really, really faint construction line over to that side. So now I've got my 3D rectangle drawn in 2-point perspective. When you get to this stage, what you can then do is, using your ruler and your pencil, you can now push a bit harder and just connect up those vertical lines like so. And this really brings your design, it allows it to stand out from the construction lines that you've drawn. Now don't rub those construction lines out yet, because you can use them, but if you want to at the end, you can rub out your construction lines so you're just left with your 2-point perspective shapes. What we're going to have a go at now is drawing a design above the horizon line. So this one, you can see we've done it below the horizon line, so I can see the right side of my object, I can see the left side, and I can see the top of it. This time we're going to draw a design above the horizon line, as if we're looking up at it. So here we go. Same process as before. I'm going to start with a vertical line. So there's my vertical line, and I'm trying to make sure it runs up and down my page, not off at an angle to the sides. Let's start at the top of our line again. Pencil at the top of my line. Line up my set square with vanishing point A, and a light construction line, so really light. Repeat that step, this time going off to vanishing point B. So use your set square, line up the vanishing point and the top of the vertical line, and take a really faint pencil line so your pencil's hardly touching the page. Next, come to the bottom of my vertical line, line up bottom of my vertical line with vanishing point A on the left hand side and a faint pencil line across, and repeat it. This time go over to vanishing point B. Nice faint line. Okay, let's continue. So I now need a vertical line that runs between this construction line and this construction line. Be sure to make sure your lines are vertical, and this method I'm using is I'm lining up my set square with the first vertical line I drew, and I'm just drawing it across to the side, trying to make sure the edges run parallel. And that'll do for this design. So I've drawn a line in between those two construction lines, and this shape's actually going to be a bit longer. So this side, this right side of my design is going to be longer. It's going to be a longer rectangle. So I'm going to want to make sure it's a vertical line. I don't want it going off at an angle. Make sure it's nice and straight. You can use the edges of the page to try and help you make sure it's going vertical. So again, looking at this design, I can now see the left hand side of my design of this rectangle. I can see the right hand side of this rectangle. What I need to finish off is the underside. And because we've drawn it above the horizon line, we can see what's underneath of it, but we can't see what's on top of it. It's almost as if we're looking up at it and it's in the sky. So let's go to this vertical line on the left, and I want to use the long edge of my set square because it's going to come all the way across to vanishing point B on the right, and it's going to be a light pencil line. Repeat that process from this vanishing point, but go over to the vanishing point on the left side. So those construction lines cross like they did here, but they cross here on this design. Now I've got the outline of my design. I can now press harder with my pencil and join up the lines between those vertical lines. So let's start here, line between there. Let's draw a line between here. So you can press harder with your pencil. I'm using pen so it stands out. And that one as well. I've got a line that goes from here and stops there because I get to that construction line, and then I've got a line here I can follow into that corner there, and there's my finished design. 2-point perspective. This one we're looking down on it because it's drawn below that imaginary horizon line. This one, it's drawn above the horizon line, so it's almost like we're looking up at it. What I want you to do is now have a go at drawing different shapes around your page in different places. What I want to make sure you do is all your vertical lines, the ones that run up and down, are nice and straight and they're running up and down, not over to the sides. And any lines that head over to the left hand side of your page must aim directly at the vanishing point A. Any lines that are going towards this right hand side of your page must aim directly at vanishing point B. I'm going to carry on finishing up this design sheet, and I'll speed up the video so that you can watch how I do it. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I've done enough designs of shapes in 2-point perspective. If I was doing it in pencil now, what I could do is now rub out all those construction lines that are not part of my designs to really jazz up my page and make it less confusing for the people who are looking at my designs to really understand a little bit about what I'm designing and what I'm drawing. So we'll pause it there. That's what I'm to do. Have a go yourself. Remember, it's all about making sure lines that go to the left end up at the vanishing point. You can see I've got all these lines. They all end up at the vanishing point. Again, any lines going towards the right, go to the vanishing point. Not somewhere over here, but to the vanishing point. Be really precise with that. And the final thing is you'll notice all the vertical lines, they're all vertical. They all go straight up and down. They don't go off at a slight angle. Give that a go and have some fun.